What's quack-a-lacking, guys? I'm a Duck Quack here, and welcome back to another video on marquee matchups on the channel. So we're just going to jump straight into things here, and the first game we're going to be looking at this week is going to be the Arsenal against Tottenham game in the Premier League. Now this is a London derby, and if we're looking for players, we have plenty of choices for basically discard gold players. The likes of Sanchez here, you can pick him up for about 1,000 coins on just buy now. So if we're bidding and sniping, we could pick him up for discard. Decent quality players, decent rating, and gold with just every box ticked basically for if this game comes up. Now, if we're investing here, the hype is unlikely to raise them too much. So we're hoping that it's going to be included in the event. We're going to want to make sure that we are covering all possibilities. And what I mean by this is we've seen both teams use free at the back formations this season. So if they choose a free at the back formation that they use in the marquee matchup, we don't want to be having fullbacks. We want to go for the centre backs, the big rated centre backs, the central midfielders, even the strikers. Just the best, most highest quality rated players we can for discard value with this game. Second up, we're going to jump into League 2, and it's a South derby between Swindon Town and Yeovil Town. Now, we don't have any gold players from the clubs, so if we're investing here, we don't want to be looking at gold, obviously. We want to be going for silver or bronze. Bronze players, we still have tons of options, and silver players are a little bit more limited, but if you can pick up those silver players for discard, they're going to be a safer bet, because hype alone will raise the price of silvers more than it raises the price of bronzes. Moving on to the next game, we do have games in Serie A. For example, I think it's Roma Lazio this week, but we've seen so many fixtures from there recently that I just don't believe that they're going to include it again so early on. Instead, we're going to mention the Atletico Madrid against a Real Madrid game. So the Madrid derby here. The problem I have with this game, though, is we have seen Atletico Madrid against Barcelona already included in marquee matchups. So if we're investing in this one, we want to make sure that we're doing it for the most potential, hugest, largest, greatest, craziest profit we can. And the first thing we want to think about is, why would we invest in Atletico Madrid players when there's loads more available for cheap, instead of Real Madrid players where their general price is a lot higher? So the cheaper ones that they have are in less supply and hence should raise more when the SBC drops. So if we're picking up players like Vasquez here for around discard value, or even Llorente here, who is actually discard value, well, very close to discard value on buy it now, we're going to be having a lot less risk, because if it's included, and say it includes 2 players from each team like we want it to, then these players will rise a lot more. But we are basing these investments again on the hope that it is included in the marquee matchup, and it's not a great investment if we're wanting to sell it on the hype factor alone. There are games in the Polish League which are just top of the table teams playing this week, so if you fancy that one, there are investment opportunities there, but we're not going to talk about those in this video. That is all on the Footbin article, so if you haven't read that, make sure you guys check that one out. Next up, we come to the Greek League, and it's AEK Athens against Panathinaikos. And I'm hoping that that was pretty close. Panathinaikos. It's something like that anyway. I can't pronounce it. I'm awful. But if we're having a look at these two clubs here, we have got a couple of gold players on each team. So if we can pick these guys up for basically discard, then why would we even bother looking at the silver players, who are simply a lower rated, lower cost of discard value, and just lower value? The profit there is lower for us, basically, because if it goes wrong, we lose more, and if it's right, and we've got a higher rated player, they're going to sell for more most of the time. So just pick up discard golds, and if they go, pick up discard silver players for this matchup, if you fancy it, of course. Next up, we're going to be moving to, we're going to the Mexican League, I think, actually. And in this match here, we've got Monterrey against Tigres. Now, again, I think we have a fair few gold players actually here. And it just means it's very, very easy to make our decision on what we pick up here. It's going to be gold players, basically. There's no reason to pick up silver or bronze players when there is a huge supply and variety of gold players available. This one's simple. Just make sure you're spending discard. There's no reason for us to be spending more than discard value on these players. Colombian League is the next one we're going to be looking at. And it is going to see Nacional against Medellin. Now, this matchup here is a huge one. It's the Colombian derby. I'm just trying to read my notes here because I'm pretty sure it had a cool name. El Clásico Pisa. No, that's not the one I was thinking of. It's cool enough, I guess. But again, we don't have a lot of gold players available. So we have one gold player available for Medellin. And if we go back to Nacional, we have, I think it's 1 or 2. We have a centre mid, a striker, and a goalkeeper. We got 3. So we have a few gold players, but there's not a huge supply of them. If you can pick up those gold players for discard, fantastic. But if they dry up fairly quickly, we have got a load of silver options, and they're all fairly cheap. We can be bidding on them for extremely cheap. We've still got so much time to invest in these players, and we have not missed any kind of window. Just the options are absolutely limited at the moment. Unlimited, sorry. It's not limited, it's completely unlimited as to what routes we can go down here. Personally, as always, I like these kind of games where the prices are very low, the gold players are next to non-existent, and hence the hype drives up the price of the silver and bronze players. But the Arsenal-Tottenham game and even the Real Madrid against Atletico game, if it's included and if we have the right players, we could see a massive return on our investments. It just all depends on what you guys feel EA might drop and how you want to split your investments. Anyway, guys, going to wrap up the video there. So if you enjoy these videos, you enjoy my content, a like is absolutely incredible from you guys. A subscription, if you're new, is amazing. And if you haven't followed me on Twitter and joined our Discord yet, also make sure you guys do that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.